just wonderful, the connection. I mean, this is one of the reasons we started these, is so alumni and friends and staff and faculty could see each other during this time and all still have a wonderful connection. So thank you all for joining us. This is already off to a great start. I want to tell you that Steph, if she can hear me, Steph Reif also works on the Office of Institutional Advancement with me, and if her speakers and microphone are working, she's going to give you a little bit of technical information.
Hi everyone, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Great.
Yes.
So if you are on a laptop, I would recommend you go to the top right corner and you go to speaker view. That way when Janice is speaking, you can see mostly just Janice and it's not like a bunch of little squares. And then other than that, we're gonna try to mute everybody just so there's not a lot of background noise. So if you have a question or a comment, you can either wave, flag us down, we'll make sure to unmute you, or at the bottom of your screen, there on laptops at least, there's a reaction button and you can kind of make one of the little reactions for the corner and we'll know to come to you when it's time for questions.
Yes, you'll note Steph had a little hand clap. I'm going to put a little hand clap on my screen. You can see that. If you do something like that, we can call on you. But this is meant to be a fun, casual atmosphere, and please, speak up if you've got a question. But right now, as you know, my guest is Janice Kuklick. She was at the college where she tells me 39 years. Is that right?
Yes.
Wow. Wow. You were...
I'm ancient. I'm a relic.
Oh. Just as precious.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Fragile. I'm very fragile.
You've taught fitness classes, coached field hockey, badminton, lacrosse. You were the department chair, athletic director. Am I leaving anything out?
No. I just wore a lot of different hats. I was an athletic director and chair all the time, but I was a large portion of the time and stuff. So I shared that too. So. You got it right.
Well, welcome, Janice. I'm so delighted to have you here, as are, I can see all these smiling faces. So without further ado, we can get to your presentation. Janice has made us a little presentation, which I'm going to share now. And then she's going to explain it as we go along. Just bear with me for 1 minute. Can everyone see that?
Yes. I can.
Okay, yep.
Wonderful. Okay.
Well, so you guys, you can see everybody else. So when they raise their hand, because I can't see everybody. I only see a couple people, right?
Yeah, you can only see 4 or 5 people, and Steph and I will watch out to see who's raising their hand.
Okay, and then I'll just tell you when to change a slide or whatever too. So
that sounds perfect.
All right, so we're going to get rolling. So it's so nice to be. It's just really fun to be with you guys. It's great to see your little faces again. I'm just so excited to see you. So, thank you for coming and seeing me. But so when I was asked to do a Zoom, I said, yeah. And I said, yeah, without really thinking. And then, then of course the magic question was, what was I going to do it on? And I thought, well, my expertise is in health. So I'd do something in nutrition or fitness or something. And I thought, nah, I think I want to do something different. And I'm thinking because, I have to tell them what I'm going to do it on. And it's like it came out of the air. Wholeness to happiness. Wholeness to happiness. It like hit me and I go, wow, that sounds pretty cool. It still seems pretty intriguing. I didn't really know really much about it or whatever, but I don't know, it just sort of hit me. So I thought, I'll get to it later. I mean, I got plenty of time to think about it. And then of course I get the email that night, please come up with a little paragraph of what it means. And I go, oh God. So I had to do some quick research on what it was that I wanted to bring to you tonight. So we could do the next slide if you would. So this is what I came up with. This was the little blurb. Happiness, though difficult to describe and not permanent, is often based on reaching one's full potential and being able to perform at that full functioning. Wholeness to happiness will explore how being aware of positively pursuing goals that align a healthy body and mind can lead to happiness. And when I put that all together, I thought, wow, that sounds pretty interesting. I was just I'm just hoping that I can do it justice because I'm not a psychologist or a psychiatrist. I'm not a spiritual guru, and I don't want to pretend that I am. But I want to try to hit this, and give you I'm hoping that you're going to be able to take maybe 1 or 2 points away from this little presentation tonight that may help you a little bit. So, and I know most of you, there's a couple of you that maybe don't know, but as Michelle said, I was at the college for 39 years and taught and coached or whatever, and I retired, I think, about 3 years ago, and I was living a pretty nice life in my retirement. I was enjoying my family and friends and traveling and stuff, and then I had a unexpected tragedy, and it's just 9 months. Actually, just in the next couple of days, I unexpectedly lost my husband, my life partner, my friend, died unexpectedly. And obviously that was pretty earth-shattering and, tough on my family. And I was so saddened. I didn't want to live. I didn't think I'd ever get out of a hole again. I come around, but I want to tell you, 9 months later, I'm feeling a little bit better. In fact, I'm feeling a lot better. I feel, almost whole as you can be after losing, your life partner. And I feel like I have found some happiness in my life again. And, doing this little PowerPoint, I didn't really realize it, but a lot of what I'm talking about is how I survived this. And that's what I want to go over tonight. I want to, it's going to be based on a lot of research, but it's also based primarily on my experiences and what I feel and what I believe, in my life that has led me to happiness. So that's basically what this is. So we can switch to the next one, please. So I want to start off with a question for you. What is your why? What is it in your life? It's a philosophical question. And again, I'm not a psychologist or psychiatrist or anything, but I'm putting out to you a question for you to ponder on. What is your why in your life? What gives you motivation? What floats your boat? What gets you out of bed in the morning? Why are you, pursuing? What are you pursuing and why? That is a really important question. And that was something that I had to find again because I lost my why. And I think we need to be finding out what our why is because it's what drives us and what motivates us. And how else are we going to get whole? And how else are we going to be happy unless we know what our why is? So we're going to start off tonight talking about happiness and wholeness, obviously. And we got to describe those terms. So we've got to sort of figure out what we mean by happiness and wholeness. This is sort of a tough term. It's it's an emotion. And I guess because it's different for every people, it's sort of hard to pinpoint a description on it. So happiness, I found out we know more about what it's not than what it is. I mean, happiness is not money. It's not, prestige. It's not material things. It's not the same for everybody. It's not constant. It's not constant pleasure. And it changes with our age. It changes with our circumstances. So it didn't really tell me what happiness was, but okay, you can flip, Michelle, please. A great synonym for happiness would be well-being. And when I was trying to find out what definition I found for happiness, I found a state of contentment that one's life is good, meaningful, and worthwhile, and that one's life can be lived to its full functioning and potential. Now, that might not be for everybody. For me, that hit home. For me, that is what happiness means to me. And that sort of drives my why, what my why is in my life. That, to me, says it all. So you can flip again, please. Psychiatrists, psychologists, they came up with 2 categories of defining happiness. One, go ahead, flip again, please. One is hedonic. Hedonic happiness is based on pleasurable experiences, like buying a new car, getting married, hitting a hole in one in golf, maybe eating an ice cream sundae. But the big thing with hedonic, it gives us sort of instantaneous pleasure, but it's pleasure that doesn't last very long. So like, when you're eating an ice cream sundae, you eat the sundae and, you get to the bottom of the dish and it's done. So, basically that's the end of your pleasurable experience. So it's not a long lasting one. The next one, thank you. And again, is, you can hit it again, is eudaimonic. And eudaimonic is the deeper, more meaningful and purposeful happiness that really rocks us. I mean, it's the real, that's the kind of happiness and pleasure that we're really seeking. An example of this might be volunteering. What you feel when you give to somebody, when you help somebody. That's a meaningful experience that makes you feel happy. Maybe attending a family reunion when you're with all your family and friends. That's a eudaimonic experience, and there are things that stick with you. And our lives are made up of eudaimonic and hedonic pleasures, but obviously this one's the one that is the most meaningful. It deals with the inner self, and it is more long lasting. So everyone, regardless of socioeconomic, background, regardless of your race, regardless of, your sex, whatever, everyone from the time you are born, till the time you die, your goal in life is happiness. Your goal in life from the time you're born, a baby cries when they're not happy. They're seeking happiness. Everybody is seeking happiness. Aristotle said, we do in life, everything we do in life is to achieve happiness. Happiness depends on ourselves. We don't wake up in the morning and say, I think I want to be sad today. No, we don't. We want to be happy. Our goal is to be happy, to find some happiness. And that is, part of our why. But how do we go about it? How can we live this life well? Can we experience happiness and its fulfillment? Do we need a plan to get there? And I say, yes, we definitely need a plan. Okay, we can flip again, please. And that's where wholeness comes in. The wholeness part of this happiness and wholeness thing. Wholeness, holistic quality or state of the entire being. So we want to be caring for all parts of our being, and that is the mind and the body. You can flip it, please. Okay, the mind and the body, that's our whole entire. And to neglect one part of our being is said to neglect the other part. And if one part of our being is in bad shape, it drags down the other part. So we want to keep both parts, well groomed and in tip-top shape. You can flip to the next one, please. Body and mind. We're talking about quality exercise, balanced nutrition, and adequate sleep. And the mind is dealing with intellect and emotions. And when we talk about this body and mind, you have to know that there is an integral relationship. We can't separate. You can't separate together. What happens, in the body affects the mind. And what happens with the mind affects the body. So, you can't separate them. Like, for instance, you go out for a jog, it not only it's affecting your body, but it is also affecting your intellect by making you more focused so that you can pay attention more and maybe solve problems too. It also affects your emotions. It gives you happy feelings. It affects your mood. So that's your body affecting your mind. And the other way around, if you're emotional, you got a lot of stress and things are going, you got a lot of bad negativity going on in your head. Tell me that doesn't affect your body. It affects your heart rate. It affects your breathing. It affects everything about your body. So they are integrally related, so they have to be nurtured. They have to be taken care of equally. Both of them do. Okay, you can go switch, please. So we're going to delve a little bit deeper into each of those little elements. And we're going to see if we can understand a little bit that by the decisions that we make on a daily basis can have an effect on our happiness. Eleanor Roosevelt said, happiness is not a goal, it's a byproduct. It takes positive action. We have to have a plan. It doesn't happen haphazardly. You're not lucky. You're not a happy, lucky person. You have to make it. I mean, sometimes, yeah, happiness comes along, but if you want to cultivate happiness, if you want to be happier, you can do quite a few things to make you happier instead of just having happiness sort of every now and then. So you have to take positive action. You have to have a plan and have some action. Okay. So we got to start off when we talk about the body. We got to talk about this little caveman guy. He is basically, this is basically our body. You know, even though this guy existed millions of years ago, this ancestor of ours has the same body basically that we do. He has the muscles, the bones, the system's still working the same. The difference is that this efficient and effective body, he needed that for survival. Well, we have this supposedly efficient and effective body too, with the same muscles, the same bones and all that kind of thing. But we don't need it for survival. Our environment's so different. You know, he had to walk 5-10 miles to go for food. He had to maybe be in good physical shape to run away from a saber-toothed tiger, you know, and, you know, he's hunting and gathering for food. We get in the car and go to the grocery store. So our environment is so different. So we don't use our body like it was meant to be used, like it was built, like it was supposed to be performed. So we do have to take action. We have to literally do something every day to make our bodies be more, to have that efficiency and that effectiveness, because it's just not in our lifestyle anymore. So we have to activate a plan. We've got to make a plan. We've got to activate a plan for that. And I got to tell you, you know, because of our lifestyle, I mean, you can name all the problems we have with our health. You know, heart disease, high blood pressure, high cholesterol. We've got diabetes, autoimmune diseases. We've got cancer. We've got low back problems. You know, I would say the high blood pressure, that's stuff that the caveman, he never heard of that before. He never had to deal with that stuff. But we are dealing with it regularly. But we can do something about it. Okay, you can flip, please. So, you know, what's recommended is, you know, you can see that here, 2.5 to 5 hours of moderate aerobic exercise, 1.25 to 2.5 hours of vigorous aerobic exercise, and also some strength training, balance, and flexibility. And when you think of maybe 114 hours of, you know, wakeable moments, or, you know, hours in the day, 114 hours of your waking day, you know, even if we take the highest amount, 5 hours is not very much to get this body to be efficient and effective. And, you know, there's so many things that you could be doing. Okay, you can flip, please. You know, between the hiking and the jogging and the biking and the swimming, and, you know, there's a lot of those activities. And some people may say, well, I don't really do those things, and I've never really exercised much, and I don't really have an idea, or, you know, what do I do? Well, I'll tell you one thing about the computer and your little apps or whatever, it is just filled with exercise apps and videos, free. They're free things that can help you for every body part, every level, every amount of time, from little as 5 minutes to up to, you know, as long as you want to do it. They're there for you. I just put on here 3 that I use regularly. I love them. They have, you know, made my workouts interesting because I can switch them up a lot. And it's just given me a lot of pleasure, and has also helped me with my goals for fitness or whatever. So these guys are are some pretty good ones here. Okay, so another thing that, is just maybe to just try to put more activity in your life. Like, here's an idea. Every time the phone rings and you're talking on the phone, get up and walk around. Put the phone, go walk in the driveway or walk around, just walk back and forth in your hallway. It's going to make a huge difference just knowing how much I'm on the phone anyhow. I put my sneakers on as soon as the phone rings, and I just go outside and keep walking around. My neighbors look at me and they go, "Boy, you were really pacing there yesterday," but at least I'm getting some activity with it as well. So the next aspect is nutrition, about balanced nutrition. If we go back to that caveman, you can imagine that what we're eating is quite a bit different than what the caveman was eating. He was eating, the lean meat and the lean proteins and fiber. He had water, he had some fats and things. He was eating for survival. And we pretty much, I guess we eat for survival and energy too, but basically we eat because it's very pleasurable. So that sort of takes us sort of beyond the things that he ate for sure. I guess that we have gone way past just eating a balanced nutrition. And the caveman would be a little surprised at the kinds of foods that we are consuming, since that caveman body was meant to digest the kinds of foods that he gave it. Not like we weren't meant to digest, live on potato chips or Cheetos and those kinds of things that we're putting in. It's strange to our system because it wasn't really meant for that. Okay, you can flip her, please. So, one big difference between us and the caveman diet is that, the simple carbs. Cavemen would eat complex carbs, things that stayed in them, that gave them energy, were slow burners, that were good and nutritious. A lot of our diet is sugars and simple carbs, which have no nutritional value and lots of calories. So if you want to look at 6 cups or 3 pounds per week of sugar, that's a lot of sugar with no nutritional value, lots of calories. It's in everything because we're eating out of bags and boxes and cans and packages. The caveman did not eat out of that. He ate naturally, close to nature. He ate things out of the ground, picking them off the trees and those kinds of things. So there's quite a big difference. So, okay, you can flip, please. So we need to, of course, have a wide variety of foods in the right proportions, and fruits and vegetables, whole grains, legumes, and eggs. Look at that. That is the caveman diet right there. Okay. And I want to tell you that 4 out of the top 10 health-related deaths in the United States are related to the foods that we consume. Heart disease, stroke, diabetes. They're all related to the foods that we are ingesting. So do we need to make a plan? Do we need to, plan something out and follow and activate the plan? Yes, we do. Okay, go ahead. And the last part of the body part is sleep. It's just the pillar, the last pillar of our wholeness right here, body wholeness. And sleep is as important, I want to tell you, as nutrition and exercise. And it's just amazing that most of us are getting less than 6 hours of sleep a night. It's just mind-boggling because during that sleep time, you're refreshing, you're re-energizing, you're replenishing. Lots of things are going on at nighttime that need to take place. And, a lot of us are not getting that. So it's very, very important. And that's going to affect your body and your mind too. Lack of sleep affects your, heart disease, your autoimmune system. It affects your weight. It affects your mood, depression, all kinds of things from not getting enough sleep. So again, we have to make a plan. We have to activate a plan. What can we do? Make sure that you get 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night, not haphazardly or randomly. You should be going to bed about the same time every night if you know you have to get up a certain time every morning to make sure that you are getting that. That's how important that is for your well-being and your wholeness. Another thing is, turning off your cell phones and your computers or whatever about an hour before so you can defuzz before, going to bed. It is extremely important that you make a plan and activate that plan that you get 7 to 8 hours of sleep. And some people will say, oh, I don't really need that. I'm a person that needs 4 hours of sleep. And they're the same kind of people that say that they can eat anything and that they don't need to exercise too. Well, let me tell you, it all catches up with you eventually. It's going to. You might be pretty lucky at first, but you're not going to be towards the end. And you're certainly not going to have much happiness when things sort of fall apart too. So taking care of our physical being. Look at all these things. Now, this is just a few of the things. Greater chance of pain-free existence, more easily handle physical, mental stresses, more energy, less trips to the doctor, increase of flow to the oxygen to the brain, which helps make us be smarter, increases feel-good, hormone stimulates production of new neurons, all these things, feeling good and proud. If I were to say to you, I'm selling this for $9.99, every single one of you would want it. Because this is happiness right here. This is good stuff. But obviously we can't buy that in a store. But it is attainable. It is something that we can have. But we've got to have a plan and activate it. So my question for you is, what plan might you activate to make positive changes to your physical being? Hit it again, would you please? So what might be a first step for you? So maybe it's overwhelming because, we talked about exercise, we talked about nutrition and sleep, and obviously, you can't go cuckoo and, I'm going to do this and this and this. There might be 1 or 2 little baby steps, and that's what I'm hoping you're going to take out of this. 1 or 2 things that you take from this that just going to get you rolling, get you moving, get you thinking about it, to help your why, to help you cultivate your happiness. Okay, you can flip to the next one. So really, you've got to plan your work. You've got to work your plan, and that's going to increase your chances of getting happy. Because again, it is not random. It's not lucky. It's not something that happens. You've got to make it happen. You've got to make it happen by working at it, okay? So now we're going to move on to the second part, which is the mind, all right? And the mind is just as important as the body. Remember, we talked about that mind-body connection, and when one is low, it brings the other one down, okay? So we need a plan for both of them. We need a plan for that mind as well. Okay, you can flip her. So what does it, you can flip it. Okay, good, thank you. So the mind part, we're breaking up into 2 parts. It's made up of intelligence and emotions. And these are the things that we're going to try to cultivate to help us with our wholeness and help us with our happiness. So, when we think about the mind, we think, what does a healthy mind look like? I got a good vision of what a healthy body looks like. I mean, I can figure that out. I know what the circulatory system is like. What's the mind circulatory system? That mind is so important for us to cultivate. So we can switch that, please. First off, I want you to think of the mind as a muscle, all right? Just as we work our muscles to strengthen them, to make them bigger, to make them stronger, that's exactly the way your brain is. If you don't use your brain shrivels up and dies. I mean, it doesn't just disappear, but it becomes not very useful. You can't really use it much. And the same thing with muscles as well. But if you actively challenge your brain on a daily basis, you're going to grow neurons, which make the brain grow bigger and stronger. It's just like a muscle, but it takes a plan. The brain, the different things that we can do with, you can hit it again, please. We've got to come up with some focused thought and exploring new ideas every day. Like, reading a book, daydreaming helps with your brain too, solving puzzles, problem solving, doing Sudoku. There's lots of crossword puzzles and things, learning a new song, learning a new game. There's lots of things, but we really have to make the effort and we've got to make a plan to do it, that it's part of our everyday regime that we do that, because it's, I don't know about, some of you that are still working, I'm sure have a lot of that challenge at work, which is very good for your brain. But some of us that are a little older and maybe retired or whatever, I tell you, we got to make an effort to do it, because we can go through the day, watching TV or, just doing some things that don't really activate the brain very much. And so it does take a little bit of forethought to get her going. Okay. And now the next part is the emotions. Okay. And you can hit that again too, please, Michelle. Emotions are strong feelings directed towards someone or something. So we've got lots of feelings, we've got lots of emotions. And the whole idea with emotions is, we've got good emotions and we've got bad ones. We're not going to get rid of them, but we can learn to curb them. We can learn to modulate them some way. We can train them, to help us, as opposed to, harming us. So that's what, working on that emotion part of this is all about. We want to be able to, find ways that we can calm agitation in our brain, because we already said what that does to our body. So by doing that, it's going to help our body as well as our brain. So again, we've got to come up with a plan. So go ahead, you can flip her again, please. Thank you. And we're coming back to that caveman guy again, because, our brains haven't changed too much either. Maybe the size of them has changed a little bit, but basically our brains are the same as the caveman brain. That brain, his brain was, had a propensity for negativity and unpleasantness because of the environment that he was in. He was always looking around. He was afraid, that something was going to crush him or kill him or whatever. So he had to be on his toes all the time. So that negativity was always in his brain. Well, guess what? We adopted that. That came with us too. We have that negativity. So we have to work against that negativity. There are things that we can do to curb that negativity in our brain. I don't know about you, but whenever anything happens, my mind always thinks the negative thing first. Eventually, I might get it to be a little positive, but as soon as it happens, I'm very negative with my reaction. So it takes a lot of work to curb those, to change them, and to make them more positive. So, we're going to go through these things that are things that are workable and doable. And the first off is close relationships. Close relationships and human bonds that you form are so very important. Talk about getting that warm, fuzzy feeling. Being around, there's research out there that being with your family for 6 to 7 hours a day increases your likelihood of happiness by 12 times. It's being with people that you feel love and are, you feel love and give love, does something to your happy hormones and your endorphins, which are very, very important. But, you can't just say you have friends. Here's what we talk about work again. We've got to work and nurture those relationships. Because, as we get older, it's easy to say, well, I don't have time. I don't have time to, go out with my friends or talk with her anymore, or, make that connection. Or, your family comes first. But you're losing out on a very important social connection that, you never know, someday down the road, you're really going to need to depend on. So it's going to take some work to develop that, but it is really going to pay off as far as the emotion goes. Go ahead. And the next one is gratitude. And God, I can't tell you enough how important or what a great feeling you get with gratitude. You can be pretty depressed, and if somebody sends you a thank you note, or if you send them a thank you note, it is instant gratification, instant fuzzy feeling inside, and guess what? It lasts for a long time too. And how simple is that as well? And even doctors, think that gratitude, writing gratitude letters or whatever, is sometimes better than giving medicine for depressed people. It actually changes the amygdala in the brain. And we can, by practicing gratitude a lot, we can channel things that we can become more grateful people. You might not be grateful now, but if you keep working on gratitude, that quality in you can change. So it's a great thing to work on. Again, it should be part of your plan. It's something that you have to work on to help curb emotions and agitation that goes on in your brain. Okay, another one is mindfulness. You've heard a lot about mindfulness. Mindfulness is, bringing attention to the here and now. I guess you didn't know that 40% of your waking hours, your mind is just all over the place. It's not where you want it to be or think it's just somewhere else. It's jumping from tree to tree. It is not, you're not focused on it. So it is very good to be able to rein in that mind and to keep it in the here and now. So I'm not worried about things that I have to do, things that are bothering me, things that happened already. So past and future, bring yourself down to the here and now and try to calm the agitation of the mind. And, there's many ways you can do that. One of which is, that mindful breath. So let's try some mindful breathing right now. If some of you haven't done that, it's really quite good, I think. I don't know if you know, but this is a watch. I know a lot of people don't have watches anymore, but I set my watch for 12 o'clock every day. Thank you, Teresa. My alarm goes off at 12 every day. I take 3 deep breaths every day, just to sort of rein me in, just to bring me back if I'm flustered and I'm hurrying around, just to calm my mind a little bit. Doesn't matter where I am, what I'm doing. I could be eating, I could be in a store. I just stop and take my deep breaths. It's a good idea. So let's just try it. I want you to see if you can feel, just what it does to you physically and psychologically. So I want you to take a deep breath, inhaling really, really deep. You can use a mantra. Like sometimes, when you breathe in, to bring focus, because the whole idea is our mind doesn't focus, our mind's all over the place. So let's focus on the breath. Maybe we need to focus on a word. So inhale maybe with peace and exhale with quiet. It doesn't matter what the words are. It could be inhale hot dog, exhale mustard. It doesn't matter. But let's just try that. And when you exhale, sort of hum it through your throat. Feel it in your throat. So let's try 3 deep breaths. Inhaling, maybe saying peace, and exhale. And again. And one more. And if you could, you focused on the breath. If you could, you kept your vision on that breath and your mind didn't wander. So it made you feel a little calmer. Another breathing technique we're going to try is it's 4, 7, and 8, where you inhale on the count of 4 and then count to 7, hold your breath, and exhale 8. So it's inhale for 4, hold for the count of 7, and then on 8, exhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So let's try that. And that counting helps us stay focused too. So let's try that. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And exhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Try that again. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Blow it out. One more time. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's just another technique to sort of bring your attention to your breath, slowing your breath down, which slows down your heart rate, slows down your blood pressure, calms that agitation in your mind, but also brings you to the here and now. So another one we moved on here is music. I can't tell you what music does. It's, if your mind is agitated, if you've got a lot of stress going on, when you put on some music, some of your favorite music, whether it's, hard rock or whether it's, piano music or whatever, instantaneously you've got oxytocin, serotonin, dopamine is just flooding your body, increasing. These are happiness hormones. Music is wonderful therapy. So it's a great way to control your emotions. Another thing is, just your religion. Prayer and praying is really meditation. When you're reciting, prayer, you're concentrating on, it's pulling you into the here and now. And there's something great to be said to be, talking or, conversing with somebody of power larger than you, which is calming and, brings peace to you. So religion is another thing that, is very helpful with curbing our emotions as well. Okay. Getting out into nature, going for a mindful walk, getting back to mindfulness. If you're out in nature and you go for a walk, try going without a phone. See if you can do it without taking your phone. And when you go out, maybe spend 5 minutes in nature, looking at the trees and maybe noticing, hey, they got different leaves. This one has this kind of leaf. This, you might not ever have noticed anything like that. Listen to the birds singing, listen, smell the honeysuckle now that it's out right now. Use your senses and take it all in. Going out in nature also brings out the happy hormones in us and floods our system. So, when our mind is agitated, being out in nature is very, very helpful. They say like 15 minutes in nature can make a world of difference, your inner self. When you're outside too, getting 15 minutes of sunshine, vitamin D, vitamin D also, helps with those healthy hormones, those happy hormones as well. So, keep the sunscreen off for a little bit just so that you can absorb that sunshine and take it in. And it's going to, calm your mind and help with some happiness. So, there's also some relaxation techniques like guided imagery and progressive relaxation. Guided imagery would be like to, take yourself away somewhere in your mind, like laying on the beach, and you imagine you feel the sand, imagine you feel the sun, imagine you hear the ocean, imagine you smell the seesaw. And if you can, work that pretty good, for 5 or 10 minutes, that is really very calming, and to, working on those emotions to help you calm them. And the same with progressive relaxation. Right now, just take your hands and squeeze your fists together as tight as you can. Everybody just tighten up, squeeze, 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 squeeze. You feel that stress and that tension. Now release them, soften them up, let them go. Progressive relaxation is noticing the difference between, that tenseness and that relaxation. So you would go through, your whole body, starting with your toes and squeezing them, your feet, and all the way up, and then letting them go until eventually your whole body is just nice and relaxed. Because that tension that's in your mind tenses your body as well. So go ahead. Yoga, when we say yoga, not only is it good exercise and good for your flexibility, but it helps for mindfulness, because it's a breath-oriented exercise where we're concentrating on the breath. We match the breath with the movement, so we have to be conscious of the breath. So our mind sort of has to stay with us in yoga. So that's really good. And exercise too as well, especially when you're performing some exercise where you have to stay, in your mind, you have to be thinking about what you're doing instead of letting it just sort of drift and run on autopilot. And I think this is the last one. This one you probably think, well, this is a little weird, this one being in here, but this one's pretty important. Financial security, and I'm not talking about having a lot of money, because happiness is not having a lot of money, but having financial security is happiness. I mean, when you can put your head on the pillow at night and know you have enough food for your family, you have enough money for your food and family shelter for your family. I mean, that is mind calming, I guess you could say. It's and it's having enough money that you don't have to work yourself to death, that you can enjoy life but you can survive. We need money. Unless you're going to live out in the wilderness somewhere, we do need money to survive. So that financial security, go ahead, you can flip, please, is really important for us, for our well-being. And this guy, Dan Bueter, he wrote this book. He said, financial security delivers more happiness over time than almost anything money can be spent on. So, that's a pretty powerful little statement right there about what financial security can bring for us. Not a lot of money, but just having the security. So again, we asked the same question about what plan can you activate for your body. We've got to ask that of what can you do for your intellect and your emotions? And maybe, go ahead, and maybe what first step can you take, to activate your, activate this plan that you're making. It could be as little as, saying you're going to read a little bit more or taking a couple deep breaths every day. There's just so many things you can do just to get yourself started. Going back to the beginning, we said, if happiness is based on reaching one's full potential and being able to perform at that full functioning, can we change how happy we are? So, I don't know. I feel, my opinion is that the things that those lifestyle behaviors that, I talked about tonight, they help a person reach their full potential. Okay, and can function, their full functioning. And if I can do that, that's going to bring me more happiness. So, go ahead. So the whole idea of that is that, again, it isn't anything that's, just haphazard. It's a plan that you have to make. It's a plan that you have to work. And, it comes back to your why, too. Do you want to do it? I mean, what is your why? What motivates you? And this, this is going to help with your motivation and answering that why, what that why is that you're all about. But you need to plan your work. You need to work your plan, whether it is for your body and your mind. They are equally important. And that is going to make you whole. And that increases your tendency to be happy. And again, we're not going to be happy every day. You're not going to be happy all the time, but we certainly can do things to increase the chances that we are going to live a lot happier. So that's that. And so if you guys have any questions or anything, I'm really hoping that, you'll take out one or two little things from this that maybe, or just even thinking about it. And, I know when I started doing this, I had a lot of discussions with a lot of my friends about it. And, it was really interesting, wholeness to happiness. And, what brings you happiness, or what is happiness to you, or what is your why? I mean, we had a lot of discussions on it. So I hope it sort of, provoked some thought in our little brains. And I hope that maybe it will motivate you just a little bit to, activate to make some plan and maybe activate some plan. So I thank you for listening to me anyhow and whatever. So if you have any questions or want to just, talk and yap and whatever, I guess we got to unmute them, right?
Thank you, Janice. That was wonderful. It gave me a lot of things to think about. We're happy to take questions. Does anybody have any? I think you can unmute yourself if I'm right. Okay.
Yeah.
So does anyone have a question?
Hey, thanks, you guys. Have a great weekend, okay?
You too. Thanks, Emily.
You too, Red.
Bye,
Take care.
Thank you.